So after their brutal loss against the Chicago Bulls, JJ Redick pulled LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Luka Doncic to the side, and he had a blunt challenge for these three guys. He basically asked these guys to play better basketball over the final 9 games, and the three definitely responded against the Memphis Grizzlies, and I want to talk about kind of what was said, the response, plus we have some updates coming out on Jordan Goodwin, and the Lakers' rotation minutes have started to kind of show us what it could look like as the playoffs kind of come around. There's a lot of information coming out. The Lakers have a massive game as well today, so I'm excited to talk about all of this. If you guys don't know, I think most people know at this point, JJ Redick issued a blunt challenge to the Lakers' Big Three after the shocking Bulls lost. And what was said in that context is kind of important. Redick said that we basically challenged all three of them when we got their 3-man actions to play with a little more force, a little more thrust, and a little more creativity. That's what JJ Redick told us in his post-game presser after the Memphis Grizzlies win. And of course, he also responded saying that we played as well as we played so far offensively. And this is definitely facts, right? The Lakers went out there and scored 134 points. LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves scored a combined 85 points. They had 25 assists and only 9 turnovers, which is really, really good between those three guys, since those 2 guys kind of control the ball most of the time. The Lakers definitely showed that they could be a team that can make a playoff push. They're a team that can play really, really good offense when they need it. And obviously the Memphis Grizzlies still did drop 127 points, but we also have to realize the Grizzlies have a top 5 offense in the NBA. And sometimes you have to kind of take what's kind of given to you. Now, some people have some concerns, right? The Lakers were up by 20 points at one point against the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies ended up, I think, down 11 going into the half. So, they definitely were able to kind of flip and come back, but the Lakers still played really, really good basketball. And the fact that JJ Redick challenged these guys specifically when we get to their 3-man actions, right? And to me, that's a part of basketball that sometimes I think people overlook a little bit. You have to consider the fact that basketball is not just go out there and score as many points, go out there and play one-on-one ball, which is something we've seen the Lakers kind of do with all the injuries that they've had. Basketball is about running organized offense. It's about being able to go out there and you got 3 guys, maybe one guy needs to rotate one way, another guy needs to rotate another. You drive, you find the open shot, and then the guy has to make that shot as well, which is something the Lakers have struggled with as well. Against the Bulls, they're 1 of 9 in the fourth quarter hitting their shots, and we had talked about this just a couple days back. If the Lakers want to win, they have to hit their shots. And we definitely got a pretty solid response from the Lakers as well. Hachimura took 5 shots, 3-point shots specifically. He was 3 of 5, which is really, really, really good. Austin Reeves took 8 3-point shots. He was 5 of 8, which is phenomenal. Dorian Finney-Smith was 3 of 7. Gabe Vincent was 4 of 6. The Lakers need to hit their shots. That was one of the big issues that they had against the Bulls, is why they lost to the Bulls essentially. Yeah, the Bulls got lucky with the half-court shot, but the Lakers struggled in that fourth quarter against the Bulls, and a part of it was they weren't hitting their shots. And now they are, right? Rui Hachimura took the most 3-point shots that he's taken since he's gotten back to the Lakers. He played the most minutes that he's played since he's been back with the Lakers. To me, we're going to start to see the rotations change a little bit as well. We're going to start to see, Jackson Hayes, for example, he only played 17 minutes. We're going to start to see this a lot more often. In fact, if you guys just look at Jackson Hayes' minutes over the past couple of games, he's in the last 5, right? You're seeing 17, 18, 18. You're starting to see Hayes play a little bit less. Now, I understand some of this is going to be matchup dependent as well. If that other team has a big, or maybe they drive to the basket a little bit more, if that other team is doing certain concepts, or if the other team's not a good defensive team, which, like the Grizzlies, they're not really that good of a defensive team, maybe you want to take Jackson Hayes out, because you look at it like Jackson Hayes on the offensive side isn't great, right? He's not a great scorer. He could potentially limit the offense a little bit. I definitely think this is true with Jackson Hayes, which is why, as this offseason approaches, the Lakers are going to have to figure it out. Jackson Hayes might not actually be here with the Lakers next season. I would love for him to be able to be kept, but we know from a contract perspective, this guy's going to want to get paid, right? And there might be a team out there willing to throw $20, $25 million at Jackson Hayes. So we'll see what ends up happening. But there was some other words as well relative to the call out that JJ Redick kind of had. Austin Reeves spoke a little bit about it as well. Reeves said that I think the meeting was just still trying to build that chemistry amongst the 3 of us to help the team be successful. Tonight, it just showed that when we play the right way and trust one another, especially offensively. We can have open looks on almost every possession. It was really just a conversation about how bad all of us want to win at the highest level. That's a lot of different things that Austin Reeves saying, but one thing that he said amongst that, which is kind of interesting, offensively, we can have open looks on almost every possession. I want you guys to think about what Austin Reeves is saying here, and I want to show you guys a chart here really quickly. The Lakers, when it comes to running organized offense, they've had some struggles, and I know injuries is a part of this, right? But like, for example, if you look in the month of February, and you see this chart just straight up going downhill, running a offense at an organized rate of, let's say, 55% and then getting it down to like 38%, that's a massive difference, right? On one end, you're running, offensive structured plays, right? Pick and rolls, maybe it's some sort of rotation, maybe it's some sort of ghost screens. 55 versus 38, it's a massive difference. And the Lakers really struggled. Again, I understand they had some injuries, right? In February, they had guys that were in and out of the lineup. And they definitely got better in March, started to trend upwards. They were on a losing streak, and I'm not surprised to see the organized offense rate kind of go down. This past game against the Grizzlies, they did a really good job running organized offense. I think they're at about 59%. League average is 58%. So the Lakers obviously were a lot better running their offense this most recent game against the Grizzlies. And the big three definitely responded in a really good way. But again, for Austin Reeves to say we can have open looks on almost any possession, this is definitely a fact. When Luka Doncic drives, he's going to get doubled at some point. Rui Hachimura will be wide open if he's in the right spot. He just has to rotate into the open passing lane. If Austin Reeves drives, almost, every time he drives, he'll get double teamed. And you're going to get LeBron James that'll get open if he rotates properly and gives that passing lane, right? To me, what the Lakers showed against the Grizzlies, if they can just continue to run that type of offensive structure, they can have a lot of success, right? 25 assists by the big three. Phenomenal game. They did struggle a little bit on defense, but I think sometimes we also have to realize, if a team like the Grizzlies comes and in his final game of that road trip for the Lakers, if you're playing a team like the Grizzlies, they just fired their head coach as well. You're playing a team that might be a little motivated. They're offensive based, so they're going to go out there and score a ton of points. You're going to have to match their points, right? Like, you can't go into a game against the Grizzlies and think, hey, we're going to hold this team to like 85 points. That's not happening. The Grizzlies are a team that they're going to want to outscore the team that they're playing. And for the Lakers, are the Lakers a defensive team? Probably not, right? I don't think the Lakers are a team that you're going to say, hey, that's a very, very good defensive team. Now, don't get it wrong, right? I want to talk about the minutes here really quickly. If the Lakers want to go with the defensive approach, Jordan Goodwin, Jared Vanderbilt, those minutes go up, right? But if they want to say we want to go on the offensive approach, those minutes are going to come down. And that's exactly what we saw against the Grizzlies. So the Lakers say, hey, we're going to put our best offensive players out there. Dorian Finney-Smith, who's been very hot the past couple of games, gets 34 minutes. Luka 38, Reeves 37, LeBron gets 37. Rui plays the most minutes he's played since his injury. And then you get the defensive guys, Jackson Hayes, for example, Jordan Goodwin, Jared Vanderbilt. You get the defensive guys with a lot less minutes, right? So you're not going to go up against the Memphis Grizzlies and say, hey, we're going to play defense, right? We're going to try to beat this team by stopping them for like 90 points. You're going to go out there with your offensive guys, and it will be interesting how the Lakers kind of approach the next couple of games. There are some updates that I want to get into, but before we get into that, I just want to touch on where the Lakers kind of stand right now. The Lakers are in the fourth spot for the Western Conference. They're a couple games back behind the Denver Nuggets and the Houston Rockets. You can see that, the Rockets are on a crazy win streak. What are they? They're 9-1 in their last 10. It's ridiculous. Lakers 5-5 in the last 10. So if the Lakers can end on a win streak, they might be able to jump up to 3. I don't see them jumping up to number 2 at this point. But the Lakers do also have a tough schedule, and I think it's another thing that we got to kind of recognize. The Lakers' last 8 games, you basically got 5 games of the last 8 where they're going to be difficult games. You're basically playing playoff caliber teams at this point, right? For the Lakers to be able to have success, they're going to have to win. Of the last 8, they're going to have to win at least like 6 of those last 8. And by success, to get to that number 3 seed. And of course, it's not that much easier for a team like the Houston Rockets. They have 7 games. 6 of those 7 are against basically playoff caliber teams. But the Lakers are going to have to try to win some of these last 8, right? They'll have 3 easy games as opposed to the Rockets only have 1 easy game left. Plus, the Lakers have 1 extra game than the Rockets. So we'll see where the Lakers can kind of end as we go, as we kind of wrap this season up. I do want to talk about 2 final updates really quickly. Jordan Goodwin, who, if you guys remember, was just recently signed to a brand new contract. He basically was on a 2-way contract, and he became a standardized NBA contract, right? Basically, the Lakers, we want to keep this guy for when the playoffs kind of come around. And not only did they end up signing him to a standard contract, but we got details now that it's going to be a 2-year contract. And of course, it's a minimum contract. And for this year, it's going to be prorated. I think the number was like $310,000 when I did the math. I don't know if there's official numbers. I didn't see anything, but it'll be about $310,000 against the cap this season for Jordan Goodwin based on the proration. But what this means for the Lakers is you get a guy like Goodwin on a 2-year contract is that you're basically going to have a team option for him next year. And remember, there's guys that could, potentially opt out of their current contracts with the Lakers. Dorian Finney-Smith has a player option coming up. He could easily opt out of that and say, I want to go get paid. And I think there's a team that would be willing to pay Dorian Finney-Smith. The guy's been very solid for the Lakers. And he's also kind of gotten his minutes up as opposed to a guy like Jared Vanderbilt, who's kind of struggled a little bit. We know both Dorian Finney-Smith and Vanderbilt are mostly known for their defense. I think Vanderbilt is not a lot, but he's better than is DFS. But Finney-Smith is, I think, a better 3-point shooter. And I think for the Lakers, you need shooters right now, right? Especially when you go into these matchups where you got Luka and LeBron and Austin that are going to drive, penetrate, and kick. You need those guys that are going to catch those kicks to be able to hit those threes. And that's a part of why having a guy like Rui is such an important thing for the Lakers as to kind of go forward, because Rui's a very, very solid 3-point shooter. Jordan Goodwin's not as good of a 3-point shooter, but again, 2-year deal means, at least in my opinion, this is a guy that can develop, and we'll see where he's kind of at next year, but it is a team option. And I think for the Lakers, that's kind of what you want, right? That's going to put you in a good spot to be able to kind of control and manage your salary cap as you go forward. LeBron James, the report is he's going to opt out, and then as he opts out of his contract, he'll sign basically sign a team-friendly contract. And I'm going to be honest, guys, man, if LeBron James is willing to take the absolute minimum, I don't know the exact number, but like even if it's like $20 million, right? I think there's a rumor that he was willing to take $20 million if the Lakers landed another star last year. If LeBron takes $20 million, the Lakers could not only keep Jackson Hayes, but they'd have enough money to go in and bring a completely another guy as well. And even if you don't want to keep Jackson Hayes, maybe you sign him and potentially trade him, package him up with Gabe Vincent or Dalton Knecht or one of these other guys, right? But the Lakers are in a really, really good spot. We'll see what kind of happens. And then I just want to wrap it up with this final quick little update. There's this theory that's been kind of trending. It's, the Game 7 theory is what people call it. Where basically every other team that the Los Angeles Lakers play basically get their best players to come back healthy against the Lakers. If a guy, has an elbow injury and the Lakers are coming up in 3 or 4 days, that player will take a game off if that's what it takes to get that elbow right. And they'll be back against the Los Angeles Lakers. So it's a Game 7 theory where basically every team wants to play up to the Lakers, right? And let's use an alternative as an example. You might play a team like the Sacramento Kings as an example. Teams aren't going to say, hey, we're going to play the Kings. Like, let's rest some of our players before we play the Kings, right? No offense to the Kings. They're an okay team. My point in saying that is just some teams out there are going to say, hey, we're going to go all in against the Lakers. The Lakers are a team that plays a lot on national TV as well. We want to be healthy. And JJ Redick apparently said that the Lakers analytics department looked into the internet fan theory that opposing team players suddenly get healthy when it's time to play LA. JJ Redick said the following, and I quote, I think it's like 86% of opposing payroll has been available to play us this year, which is by far the number 1 in the league. So that Game 7 theory that exists out there, it's funny because every time I log into Twitter, that's one of the things that like always is popping up right at the top. And maybe it's because I'm always interacting with it, but it's always like, hey, this guy's out, they play the Lakers in their next game and they're out this game. We'll see if they're healthy. And then come game day, they're healthy. They're good to play, right? And I've seen that a lot over the past couple of months. And apparently 86% of the time, right, the opposing payroll has kind of been available. And we know how the NBA payroll kind of works, right? It's much different than the NFL. 86% is very, very, very high if you guys ask me, but it is what it is. The Lakers have 8 games left. We'll see how they can kind of finish this season. Hopefully they're able to finish strong. I think getting the second seed would be really, really good for the Lakers. Third seed's okay. Fourth seed, probably don't want that, but we'll see what ends up happening. Let me know what you guys think, man. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.